Ibn Mas'ud said, I said to the Prophet, هل للساعة من علم تعرف به? Does the hour have a knowledge that you can know it by? He said, نعم يا Ibn Mas'ud. And Muslims have to know these signs so they recognize them when they see them. And there are many signs. One of the signs, يكون الولد غيظا. Children become filled with rage. وأن يكون المطر قيدا. Rain becomes burning or acidic, acid rain. وأن تفيض الأشرار فيضا. You'll see evil people spreading widely. يا ابن مسعود إن من علامة الساعة وأشراطها أن يؤتمن الخائن وأن يخون الأمين. People will trust treacherous people and they will consider trustworthy people treacherous. وأن يصدق الكاذب وأن يكذب الصادق. The truthful one will be called a liar and the one telling a lie will be called truthful. These are signs. يا ابن مسعود إن من علامة الساعة وأشراطها أن تواصل الأطباق وأن تقطع الأرحام. This to me is one of the clear prophetic miracles of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, تواصل الأطباق, that the dishes will be communicating continuously, and the Prophet used the very word that's used for satellite communications, muwasalat, and people will sever their family ties. In other words, people will stay home and watch television on satellite dish, and they won't go visit their neighbors. This is an amazing hadith to me. يا ابن مسعود من أعلام الساعة وأشراطها أن يسود كل قبيلة منافقوها. You will see hypocrites ruling. وَكُلُّ سُوقٍ فُجَّارُهَا. And you will see the worst people controlling the marketplaces. يا ابن مسعود إن من علامة الساعة وأشراطها أن تزخرف المحاريب وأن تخرب القلوب. You will have ornamented mosques, but the hearts would be ugly. So people praying in the mosque, they've done no tazkiyah, but the mosque is beautiful. يا ابن مسعود إن من علامة الساعة وأشراطها أن يكون المؤمن في القبيلة أذل من النقد. The mu'min will be more humiliated than the ugly goat. Like nothing. يا ابن مسعود إن من علامة الساعة وأشراطها أن يكتفي الرجال بالرجال والنساء بالنساء. You will see homosexuality and lesbianism widespread. And he said, you will see Mirk al-Subyan, young people having massive wealth. Like Zuckerberg is a multi-billionaire before he was 30. And you will see Mu'amaratun Nisa. You'll see movements to corrupt the women. يا ابن مسعود إن من أشراط الساعة وأعلامها أن يعمر خراب الدنيا ويخرب عمرانها or عمرانها. You will see the destruction of civilization. You will see the civilization of the destruction of the world. So خراب الدنيا, that will become the ta'mir. It's tadmir. يا ابن مسعود إن من علامة الساعة وأشراطها أن تظهر المعازف. That musical instruments will be widespread. يعزف على رؤوسهم بالمعازف. Musical instruments will be on their heads. How did he know about that? That's what it says. I didn't make that up. It says they'll have ma'azif. على رؤوسهم ma'azif. On their heads are musical instruments. Who would have thought, who would have known what that meant at the time of our Prophet ﷺ? But now we see it, all these people everywhere. He said, Ashurat, you'll see many police. And also, Al-Ghammazun, Al-Lammazun, people mocking and making fun. Now look at all the TV shows where they just mock people. يا ابن مسعود إن من علامة الساعة وأشراطها أن يكثر أولاد الزنا. You will see many children born out of wedlock. In my country now, over 50%. Amazing. تعرض الفتن على القلوب كالحصير. And the Prophet said that the fitan will be shown to the hearts like a mat. عودا عودا. It has two lines, a horizontal and vertical line. This is the TV set. This is the set. It's a hasir. It's a mat. And the Prophet said the fitan will be shown to the hearts like a mat. Kal-hasir. And this is how shaitan is destroying the hearts. By showing them the fitan on these films and on TV over and over again until people just become accustomed to violence. It's a normal thing. They're not shocked by it anymore. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم صنفان من أهل النار لم أرهما قوم معهم سياط كأذناب البقر. You will see people with whips like cow tails. يضربون بها الناس. They'll hit people with it. ونساء كاسيات عاريات. Women that were clothed and naked at the same time. مائلات, they'll sway in their walk. مميلات, and cause others to incline towards them. رؤوسهن كأسنمة البخت. Ya Allah, Sadaqa Rasulullah. He said their hair would be like the Bactrian camel's hair. This is not a camel the Arabs had. They came from Persia, so they saw them. They knew what they were. These people will not enter paradise. Will I say Sadaqa Rasulullah? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said people will drink intoxicants from my ummah and call it by other names. Right? They'll have lots of names for it. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. اللهم بلغ. اللهم بلغ. اللهم بلغ. With this religion. Now they're using these black flags. Because there's hadith about the black flags coming from Afghanistan towards the end of time. But they don't know that there's actually two different black flags. There's the black flags of Bani Abbas, but then there's another group of black flags that we were warned against. Sayyidina Ali says, عن علي بن أبي طالب قال إذا رأيتم الرايات السود فَالْزِمُوا الْأَرْضِ وَلَا تُحَرِّكُوا أَيْدِيَكُمْ وَأَرْجُلُكُمْ. Stay put. Why? Because it's fitna. Stay put. What do you do during fitna? You do what the Prophet ﷺ said. When the fitna comes, you stay in your house. كُونُوا حِلْسًا مِنْ أَحْلَاسِ الْبَيْتِ. You don't go out. The Prophet ﷺ said, الْعِبَادَةُ فِي الْفِتْنَةِ كَالْهِجْرَةِ إِلَيَّ. That doing ibadah during fitna is like making hijrah to me. Because his religion is not a religion of fitna. And civil strife, persecution, these Yazidis have been living there for centuries. The Christians, this is a testimony to the beauty of our religion, that the Christian church of Syria and Iraq for centuries lived with their churches inviolable. They could worship God in their churches, and they weren't afraid of the Muslims. And now they're running, they're fleeing. Sayyidina Ali said, ثُمَّ يَظْهُرُ قَوْمٌ ضُعَفَاء لَا يُؤْبَأُ لَهُمْ. Then you will see these weak, insignificant people. لَا يُؤْبَأُ لَهُمْ. Insignificant people. Insignificant people. These are not notables. They have no learning. There's no scholars amongst them. Insignificant people. قُلُوبُهُمْ كَزُبْرَ الْحَدِيدِ. Their hearts are like pieces of iron. And in a riwayah, لَا رَأْفَةٌ وَلَا رَحْمَةٌ عَلَى عَدُوِّهِمْ. They have no mercy with their enemies. And the Prophet ﷺ said, مَنْ لَا يَرْحَمْ لَا يُرْحَمْ. Even this poor mother asking for her child to be... And let me say something, just predicate this here. I'm not exonerating these neoconservatives that opened this door. All right? I'm not exonerating what this country did to the Iraqi people. All right? Who opened the door of fitna? I'm not exonerating them. So I'm not talking, but I'm dealing with what we've got right now. That happened. Now we have another situation. We can play the blame game because that's Iblis's favorite game. That is his favorite game. بِمَا أَغْوَيْتَنِي لَأَغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. That's Iblis. Our religion is Adam alayhi salam. He said, ظَلَمْنَا أَنفُسَنَا. He didn't say, Iblis made me do it. Right? Because قَاسَمُهُمَا Iblis. He said, إِنِّي لَكُمْ مِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ. I'm giving you sincere advice. They believed him. They were like children. They were innocent. They believed Iblis. And they fell. He didn't say, oh, Iblis, he swore an oath. We never thought he'd lie. They didn't blame Iblis. That's why he's Khalifa. That's why Adam is Khalifa, because he didn't do what Iblis did. Iblis blames God. You led me astray. So you can blame America, you can blame Israel, but if you want to get to the metaphysical level, then we have to deal with our sins. Why did they come? فَجَاسُوا خِلَالَ دِيَارٍ بَعَثْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ عِبَادًا لَنَا. We sent them our servants. Those were the Babylonians. They weren't the people of Haqq. They were sent to Bani Israel. Why? Because Bani Israel had deviated from the path. And so God sent them servants that would go into their houses, take their women, kill their men. Why? Because ummati ummatun marhuma ju'ila adhabuha fi dunyaha. My ummah is a ummah that has rahmah, because all of their punishment is here in this world. Then what did he say? Fitanun was zalazilu wal balaya. You look at the earthquakes in the Muslim world. When we have earthquakes, 10,000 people die. They have an earthquake here, 3 people die. This is what Allah said, that we're going to, the Prophet ﷺ said, we will have fitan when we deviate. فَلْيَحْذَرِ الَّذِينَ يُخَالِفُونَ عَنْ أَمْرِهِ أَن تُصِيبَهُمْ فِتْنَةٌ. Let them be warned. If you go against the messenger, if you would go against his guidance, the Prophet said that when they gave bay'ah to him, أَلَّا تُنَازِعَ الْأَهْلَ أَمْرَهُ, that you don't go against the sultan. The Prophet ﷺ said that. People now, they say, oh, those hadiths, they're just put there by people that wanted to calm people down. And so, Al-Bukhari, none of these hadith are sound. None of the things that ulama said for centuries. No, of course, in this enlightened age, we're going to reinterpret the whole religion, this revolutionary age, where we get rid of all these evildoers and the pure ummah is going to come. What is this? What's happened? This is a state. But see, they have hearts like iron. Hum ashab ad-dawla. That's what he said. Hum ashab ad-dawla. They're the people of Dawla. That's their name, Dawla. They call them Daesh in the Arab world. Dawlat al-Islamiyah. Right? They're the people of Dawla. That wasn't even a word the Arabs used other than just to revolve something. تِلْكَ الْأَيَّامُ نُدَاوِلُهَا بَيْنَ النَّاسِ. They didn't use it for state at that time. Hum ashab ad-dawla. لا يفون بأحد ولا ميثاق. They will not have any covenant. You can't trust them with anything that they say. يدعون إلى الحق وليسوا من أهله. They call to the truth, but they're not from the people of the truth. Why? Because in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, when Hudayfa, people were asking about evil, Sahih al-Bukhari, Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman, the people were asking about good, he wanted to ask about shar, out of fear that he might see it. He said, Ya Rasulullah, كنا في جاهلية وشر فجاءنا الله بهذا خير. We were in jahiliyyah and shar, and then God brought this good to us. Is there any bad after this good? He said, Na'am. And then he said, is there any good after that bad? He said, Na'am, وَفِيهِ دَخَن. Yes, but it's going to be cloudy. It won't have the same purity. And he said, مَا دَخَنُهُ يَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. What's the cloudiness? He said, قَوْمٌ يَهْدُونَ بِغَيْرِ هَدِي تَعْرِفُ مِنْهُمْ وَتُنْكِرُ. People will guide with other than my guidance. You will know some things and you'll reject other things. And then he said, is there evil after that good? He said, Na'am. دُعَاتٌ عَلَى أَبْوَابَ النَّارِ مَنْ أَجَابُهُمْ قَذَفُوا فِيهِ. Those who, they're callers on the doors of the hell. If you answer them, if you respond to their call, you will be flung into the hell. Hudayfa said, صِفْهُمْ لَنَا يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. Describe them for us so we'll know them. هُمْ مِنْ جِلْدَتِنَا. They're Arabs. They're like us. مِنْ جِلْدَتِنَا. They look like us. يَتَكَلَّمُونَ بِأَلْسِنَتِنَا. They'll quote the Quran. They'll quote the Hadith. This is how the Prophet ﷺ described them. And then he said, كَيْفَ تَأْمُرُنِي يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. What do you command me to do at that time? He said, إِلْزَمْ جَمَاعَةُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَإِمَامَهُم. Be with the jama'ah and the imam. وَإِن لَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُمْ جَمَاعَةٌ وَلَا إِمَامٌ. What if there's no jama'ah and no imam? فَاعْتَزِلْ تِلْكَ الْفِرَقَ كُلَّهَا وَلَوْ أَنْ تَعَضَّ بِأَصْلِ شَجَرَةٍ حَتَّى يُدْرِكَكَ الْمَوْتُ وَأَنْتَ عَلَى ذَلِكَ. Sahih hadith. He said, avoid all those sects. Even if you have to cling to the root of a tree with your teeth until death comes to you and you're on that. He didn't say, لابد أن تقيم الخلافة هذا فرض كفاية. He didn't say you have to establish the khilafah. But these people, they don't study. They're Khawarij. And this media here is calling them Sunnis because they're killing Shia. They're not Sunnis. These aren't Sunnis. They're not Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. These are Ahlu Iblis. فريقا هدى وَفَرِيقٍ حَقَّ عَلَيْهِمُ الضَّلَالَةِ. One group was guided and another group حَقَّ عَلَيْهِمُ الضَّلَالَةِ ثَبَتَ عَلَيْهِمُ الضَّلَالَةِ. In the hadith then he says, أَسْمَاؤُهُمَ الْكُنَى. This is how you know them. And if you don't think these are accurate descriptions, Hudayfa said, the Prophet got up in a khutbah and he spoke the whole day. He said every single fitna that would happen until the end of time. He described the leaders, he told us their names, he told us what would happen, and he said some of us could remember and others of us couldn't. Every single fitna. So don't think these things weren't mentioned. Asma'uhum al-kuna. Their names are Abu so-and-so and Abu so-and-so. They don't go by their real names. Asma'uhum al-kuna. وَنِسْبَتُهُمْ الْقُرَى. And they go back to towns, places. They don't go to tribes, because the Arabs, they go by tribes. These people know, they go by places. Al-Baghdadi, Al-Ambari, Al-Juwayshi. All these names of their towns that they're from. Al-Libi, Al-Musri, Al-Maghribi. They go back to places. This is what the Prophet ﷺ, because it has hukm al-rafa, and people can say it's a weak sanad. It sounds pretty sound to me. وَشُعُورُهُمْ مِرْخَاتٌ كَشُعُورَ النِّسَاءِ. They have long hair, wearing it like women. Look at all the pictures of these guys with their long hair. Because it's not that the Prophet ﷺ didn't have long hair, but it's no longer fashionable in the Arab world. Arabs don't wear their hair long, so that's a sign that you know them. Their hair is long. حَتَّى يَخْتَلِفُوا فِي مَا بَيْنَهُمْ. They'll start fighting amongst each other. That's the nature. There's another troubling hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said, سَتَكُونُ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الشَّامِ أَوَّلُهَا لَعِبُ الصُّبْيَانِ. It begins with children playing in Dar'a. And then he said that it'll just be after that one fitna after another. كُلُّ مَا سَكَنَ فِتْنَةٌ هَاجَتْ فِتْنَةٌ أُخْرَى. Every time it calms down in one place, it starts up somewhere else. In this, إِذَا خَرَجَتْ الرَّايَةَ السُّودِ. If you see the black flags, فَإِنَّ أَوَّلَهَا فِتْنَةٌ. It begins with a fitna. وَوَسَطَهَا ضَلَالَةٌ. And the midst of it is delusion, misguidance, error. وَآخِرَهَا كُفْرٌ. And it ends with atheism. Because that's what's going to happen. People start losing their faith. This is what happened to the Europeans. They had World War I and II. It was enough for them. They don't believe in God anymore. They were a profoundly religious civilization. Look at all the churches they built. People can't take it. There's so much. Where's God? The question is not where is God, is where are we? That's the question. لا يُسَرُ عَمَّا يَفْعَلُ. He's not asked about what he did, but we're going to be asked about what we did. Why aren't we following the guidance of the Prophet ﷺ? And in this hadith that Makhul relates, he says, Mali wali bani al-Abbas. Because most of these they thought had to do with the Abbasids. But then he said, Shayya'u ummati. They split my ummah. Wa albasuhum thiyab al-sawad. And they put black clothes on them. Albasuhum thiyab al-nar. May God put clothes of fire on them. These people are khawarij. They're killing Muslims. They've every single criteria. And don't be fooled by their piety. Don't be fooled by their piety, because the Prophet ﷺ said, عند صلاتهم تحقرون صلاتهم. When you see them pray, you'll consider your prayer insignificant. وعند صيامهم تحقرون صيامكم. But he said, يقرؤون القرآن ولا يتجاوز حناجرهم. They'll recite the Quran, it won't go past their throats. The ulama said it means they won't understand it. Because they don't have the tools. You can't understand the Quran without the tools. They won't understand it. And then he said, يَمْرُقُونَ مِنَ الدِّينِ Sahih Bukhari. يَمْرُقُونَ مِنَ الدِّينِ كَمَا يَمْرُقُ السَّحْمُ مِنَ الرَّمِيَّةِ. They will leave this religion like an arrow is shot out of a bow. And in a riwayah in al-Bukhari, it says, يَخْرُجُ فِي أُمَّتِي. And then the Rawi says, مَا قَالَ مِنْهَا. There will come out amongst my ummah. And he didn't say from it, because they're not from him. These people are not from the Prophet ﷺ. They have nothing to do with the man who was sent as a mercy for all the world. And the fact that they're in any way, shape, or form associated with this religion is a great tragedy. Muslims in this country have a big responsibility to get out there and educate people Because these people are watching these newscasts, and maybe there is some other agencies involved. I don't know. Because this is an age of fitan. It's all confusion. It's what the Prophet ﷺ said. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not confused. I'm not confused. If you're confused, you haven't studied this religion. And if you think this has anything to do with the truth, you definitely haven't studied this religion. Because these people